Today we're going to be out in the garden. We're actually in the zinnia patch. As you can see, we have blooms that are going, and I want to show you how we're going to harvest. The first thing you want to do is you want to take and see if our stems are mature enough to harvest. And so you take it and you kind of wiggle the stem, and this one is sturdy enough, and so it's ready to be harvested. If it's too young, you're going to go like this one is very immature. You're going to see that it really wiggles a lot. That is not ready to harvest. So we want to harvest our blooms that are mature. We want to go down to those lateral nodes. So you're going to harvest it, and you're going to see there's two lateral stems as they're growing. This is going to make this plant bushier. It's also going to allow for the growth of those stems to grow up and have more blooms. We also want to remove that bottom foliage so that we don't have that in our water. We have different varieties of the same zinnias that we had harvested. So these are giving us lots of different color patterns, the palettes that we can use. The next critical step when you're harvesting out in the field, we want to take a fresh bucket of water with us to the field, and I want to go ahead and place my zinnias in the bucket of water as I'm harvesting. That way it keeps them hydrated, the water continues to go up, and our petals stay nice and firm. So the next flower I'd like to talk about, this one is Cosmos. This is another garden favorite. It grows very easily from seed. This is a great beginner flower to add to your garden if you haven't ever done this before. It has a beautiful little dainty, airy little bloom set to them. It also has this really delicate and very textured, interesting fern-like foliage. Cosmos is a great one to add to your garden. We use this for cut flowers. The biggest problem is you want to go down and take enough of the foliage with you as you make your cut. So you're going to want to go down a little further. This is going to allow you to have a little more surface area. It's also going to take up the water with having that stem base to it. You would think that you want to take off the stem right here. And if you did that, you're going to see that you have really short stems. They're great to use, but they don't have a very long base to them. If you use this one, you can see that stem base isn't enough. And what's going to happen is it's going to wilt quickly compared to this one right here. So as you can see, we've harvested some of our Cosmos. By cutting this, these will continue to bloom. You can see they have brand new sets that are coming out. We have lots of buds as they're growing. By making these cuts inside the nodes, we're going to have lateral branches that are going to continue to bloom throughout the summer. So this one is also a cut and come again variety that you can use in your garden. Another great one to add to your garden setting if you want a flower bed or a cut flower garden is to have celosia. Celosia is a great one also because they tolerate the heat. You can grow from seed. There's lots of varieties, but the great part about it is that once you cut this main stem, you're going to see they have a lot of lateral growth. I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to go down. I want to make sure I'm cutting between the two growing nodes, and you're going to see you're going to have lateral stems that continue to grow after this cut. We want to take and cut here. We're going to cut right through here. We're going to see all the lateral growth. This one, as you can see, has been grown, cut, and it's starting all these nice long lateral stems that can be used in the future. So you can see we have this beautiful burgundy, kind of almost cranberry variety. This is a plume celosia. You also can have crested that you can see here. They have these nice little crests. They start to make more of a head. They'll kind of look like little wavy little features to them. This one is continuing to grow right now, and it will continue to bloom and produce side shoots all the way through first frost. Another variety that you can have, so this is called a pink flamingo, and you can kind of see it's a more of a plume type at the ends. The thing with it, as you can see, once it becomes mature, and this is more of a mature one, they start to have seed set, and you can actually harvest the seed sets from these right here. These will produce little tiny seeds, and they'll go through, but they also are very interesting. As you can kind of see, they kind of stick out. They look like little fingers. And then this is called Crestwell, and this one is again another one of our plume varieties. So look at the different color color palettes, how bright you can go from very pastel color palettes to more of a one to use with your soft beiges, some yellows, bringing in those soft colors palettes to also our nude color palettes to a very bright, vibrant color scheme. Another item that we can add to our garden is basil. We can plant multiple varieties of basil and use it as a foliage for our cut flowers. So this one is some varieties that I'm going to show you today. This is cinnamon basil, and you can kind of see it's gone past where it's already going to bolt and it's going to flower set. It has a beautiful burgundy stem to it. It's got this purple and white fluorescent at the top that gives great texture and color and contrast along with that foliage. You can have your traditional sweet basil, you can have lemon basil, you can have purple ruffle basil. Any of the basils can be used as culinary uses, but then cut and put into our flower arrangements as that foliage and that texture element. Again, when I harvest basil, I want to make sure that I am taking long stems. At this point, we're not worried about the culinary use. It will go ahead and bush out a little bit if we have a rainfall or we fertilize again. But I want to take a little bit longer stems. I'm going to cut down a little further so I have these. I like to harvest it like this with the longer stem. I'm going to remove the bottom foliage so that when it goes into the bucket of water, it has the foliage removed. That's one step. That way it's not so wet. It's not taking up space in my bucket. But I also want to put it in directly into the water. This one needs to hydrate overnight. So if you're going to do arrangement work with this, the best thing is to let it hydrate for at least 6 to 8 hours. Overnight is best, and arrange it the next day. But to go ahead and get these hydrated as soon as possible. This is amaranth. This is a great one. It will bloom, as you can see, throughout the summer, but it's really more of a late kind of fall flower that we're going to cut for a cut flower use. You can start around the end of August all the way through October harvesting amaranth. As you can see, the one trick about our amaranth is that they also get very tall in structure, so they need some support. You can see here what we do is we kind of corral them in by having some posts and then just using twine string that you can put along the edges when you plant a row of them. If you plant just one or two, they'll be fine. You can support them with some sunflowers or other maybe elements in your garden or your cut flower bed. But if you're going to do a traditional row like you see here, you're wanting to add additional support and have those sides corralled together. So if you have any wind event or a strong storm, it will keep them upright in structure. But this is a great one to have for fall bouquets, to add to grasses, and have that really wonderful fall arrangement series. So the different varieties that you can have is that you can have this beautiful burgundy amaranth, you can have autumn torch, you can have a green variety, you can also have, so then these are your hanging amaranth. This is called green tails, and this is called coral fountain. But you have these hanging varieties, so when you're making cut flower arrangements, you can see the beautiful texture. These can be used in cascading bouquets, upright bouquets. As you can kind of see, these are great. They give you a lot of height and lots of texture and those elements as you're using your bouquets. Okay, you can see that we have a lot of different varieties. We harvested early morning after the dew is off of our flowers. We harvested a lot of varieties, and now we're going to go inside and we're going to go ahead and make our bouquet. Okay, so we have cut our cut flowers and we're going to use them to make an arrangement. So we're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stems of basil as my foliage. Now, when I first started, I was really, I wanted to have some kind of a formula. I like to put the foliage in my hand and hold it in my hand. I use the 2 fingers, and I grip it, and I hold it in this. Now, you can place the foliage as you want, but this kind of opens it up. Now, what I want to do is I want to add some of my airy elements. I'm going to add 5. So I'm going to slide 1 in here, where I kind of want it before I put it in the vase. I can hold it in my hand and kind of slide it where I think it needs to go. 2, 3, 4, So now I have 5. Now, this helps me kind of decide what I want to do. It's kind of giving me an open structure. I have it. I like the way it looks. Now, I'm going to take 7 of my zinnias. I'm going to go ahead and use these that we cut. I have 1, and I can place it in. I can kind of shove it in. I can move it around. 2, 3, 4, 5, one over here, 6, 7. Now, I may not like exactly where they're at, but at least this gives me a big base. I kind of have my area. You know, I can take this and place it down inside my base. Now, at this point, I can kind of wiggle them around and move them. I can kind of slide it around where I think I want it to go and move it. Now, if this is all you have and all you have blooming right now is some cosmos and some zinnias and your foliage, that's fine. This is a beautiful little arrangement, and you don't have to use any amaranth or any of the other items that we harvested today. If all you have is zinnias, you can continue to incorporate in some zinnias into your area. I know we go by traditional rules that we're talking of numbers, but if you have more zinnias and you want to harvest them because they're ready, enjoy them. This is what this is about. So we can incorporate more zinnias than what we have and just fill in our areas. So we're going to add all of these zinnias in here. I'm going to move that one to this side, and then we're going to show you what we can do. So we have all of our things that we harvested out of the garden. We don't want to let them go to waste. We can incorporate them into just one bouquet. We have all of our zinnias. We're going all the way around. So I'm going to show you all the way around. We have lots of different zinnias blooming at this time. We want to enjoy them. So this is a great arrangement. It doesn't have to go by the numbers, but you can enjoy it because you harvested all this out of your garden. And this is wonderful to enjoy or share with a friend.